What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA mock draft video on this Memorial Day. So happy holidays to all the current vets, former vets. We truly appreciate your service. But before we get into this mock draft, I would really appreciate a like, comment, or subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later if you don't enjoy the content. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I could care less, but just doing it for fun. But getting right into it, I guess this one I'm going to be doing more fits and I guess a combo of what I would do, but also where I think, at least like based off the team's current roster construction, where I think they could potentially go to immediately impact their team, I guess. But without further ado, number one overall, the best player in the class, Cameron Boozer, who is the epitome of winning. I would really enjoy watching him run these inverted screens with Alex Sarr for the foreseeable future. Boozer is just a very unique offensive engine who's kind of similar to Kevin Love, but is much more perimeter oriented and ran a lot more ball screens, at least coming out of high school and college. So like, I think he's just much more advanced on the offensive end than Kevin Love was coming out of school, and that honestly says a lot considering Boozer's going to be the youngest first round pick in this class, but which honestly makes it even crazier to think that people don't think he has upside, and I'm not going to get into that. But Boozer is the number one player in the class, and I think that'd be an awesome fit for Washington for their future. Number two overall, we have Darren Peterson going to a movement-heavy system with Will Hardy. Peterson is an excellent shot maker and shooter off of movement, off of screens, and especially in tight spaces as well. If he hits his high, this could be an offensive engine, but his profile suggests that he is a pure two guard, especially coming out of school, which with the low assist numbers relative to his usage, but also the rim pressure kind of just not being what we thought it would be. But the defensive playmaking is pretty good, so I'm encouraged to see that. I think his injuries are going to be fine in the league. I'm not really looking too much into that, but I think that'd be a really fun fit for a Utah team who could potentially be getting into that play-in or playoff range as soon as next year. Number three, Memphis, we have AJ Debonsa going there. I think that'd be a really fun fit if they pivot off of John Morant, if they want to go the heliocentric route with a bona fide, I don't want to say he's not a three-level scorer, but a heavily inside the arc scorer who has the potential to turn into an offensive engine, I think. Defensively, there are legitimate issues. The playmaking on that end is just not good, so that's not ideal for somebody with his pedigree and kind of his athletic traits. So we'll see what happens on that end. You can obviously kind of mask that up with like Jalen Wells and Cedric Coward, Zach Edey, like all these guys on Memphis who honestly they have a good roster. They just potentially need a reset with their franchise cornerstone. So nonetheless, moving on to Chicago, which would be a perfect spot for Caleb Wilson and of course Bryson Graham, who really prioritizes that slap philosophy, so strength, length, athleticism, physicality, and Wilson fits that mold. So be really excited to see where he lands, but I think Chicago is like a pretty obvious landing spot for him. Number five, we're going to go with a much more unorthodox selection here, but if we're going just pure fit, Allen Graves is one that is so good on the margins and creating extra possessions for his team. Especially from his stock rate is through the roof. It's honestly unprecedented for somebody his age, but also a 99th percentile offensive rebounder, and another guy that just doesn't turn the ball over. And it's so like he has the most obvious like kind of star role player profile in the whole class, and Graves is truly underrated. And if you guys haven't watched him, I would get to it. But Clippers, I think that'd be a pretty good fit for at least their current roster construction if they're still trying to win as early as next year. But I think that'd be really fun. Number six, we're going to go with Michael Brown to the Brooklyn Nets. And, of course, Jordi Fernandez's kind of heavy three-point rate system. So Michael Brown, he has that star profile. He's my number one point guard right now. And he's one that gets up a bunch of pull-up threes. I want to say he was close to 13 or 14 attempts per 100 possessions from three. Really good indicators considering he's a good free throw shooter, but also kind of the pre-NCAA numbers. He did really good in the Team USA FIBA last year, I want to say, and honestly, he was the best player on the floor. And there was guys like DeBonce out there, so it was he's pretty special if he's able to hit his high. Of course, the back injury kind of came into play last year, but Mike Hale has this star lead guard profile, and if he hits his high, he could be really special. Number 7, the Sacramento Kings. Of course, if we were going for truly fits, Sacramento, they love to take their older prospects, so maybe a Axel Lendeborg, maybe a Bennett Sturts. But however, we are going to go with my guy from Stanford in Ibuka Okore, another star profile guard who has this kind of crazy rim pressure. I want to say it was the highest unassisted rim attempts per 100 possessions since Ja Morant. So a walking paint touch for not a crazy athlete, but a good enough one. Like his body contortion, the ability to use both hands is pretty special. And for the type of offensive load that he had, the fact that he barely turned it over is outstanding. And that's what you want to see. The guys that are able to take care of the ball, but also consistently generate quality looks for, of course, himself, but also for his teammates. But Okore, his assist numbers weren't great. However, the team context kind of, I don't want to say sucked, but like he played with a fairly like not so athletic team. So there was a lack of vertical spacing on the squad in Stanford. So it was kind of tough for Okore to kind of have this type of playmaking impact that we kind of want to see. But I think the Kings would definitely look for another lead guard who's got some maxi to him, so maybe they see some Fox as well. But number 8, the best fit so far. Well, maybe not best fit so far, but Ade Mara to Atlanta. Of course, Atlanta had some smoke a couple years ago where they're potentially going to take Klingon number 1. They probably should have, but they get their Klingon-esque mold type of player here with Mara at number 8. At number 9, we are going to go with my guy from Iowa, my my third-ranked point guard on the board currently, behind Michael and Ibuka Okore, but we're going to go with Sturts. I think that's a perfect fit alongside Cooper Flagg, a guy who gets up a bunch of threes off the dribble, highly self-created shot profile, which is really good considering he's efficient at every single level, which is really ideal and an indicator that he could potentially have some star upside. But he's an easy kind of off-ball, scalable player. Like even in an interview, he mentioned that he is better off the ball, which I honestly agree with. A really cerebral cutter, processor of the game, consistently makes the simple right decisions on a possession-to-possession basis, and finishing 70% at the rim in a heavily half-court setting is really impressive, especially considering he's not an above-the-rim athlete, or at least consistently. He's a decent enough one, but really impressive numbers for a guy that doesn't really finish through contact, or at least finish above these rim protectors. But Sturts is outstanding, and I really think he is worth at the very least a lottery choice. Number 10 here is a fit like a glove. Axel Lendeborg. If the Bucks keep Giannis, they want to continue to try to win as early as next year. I think Lendeborg is easily their choice, especially if he's there. Kind of like a 6'9", kind of Derek White role player, star role player, which is what you want to see for these older prospects. I know he's older, but good connective passer, shooter, can attack a closeout, crashes the glass, and is a really competitive defender who is coming off an excellent tournament run and has this winning pedigree. So Lendeborg would be really fun for the Milwaukee Bucks. And then at 11 here, we're going to go with Mr. Jaden Quaintance. I know this could be a wild card, but this fit could be really fun long term. So Quaintance is arguably the best defender in this class. He honestly may be if he's fully healthy. He's got some Jonathan Isaac to him, especially like with the movement skills, the length that he's able to use, the shot blocking, kind of the ability to crash the glass on both ends. But offensively, I think he has some driving prowess and upside. I don't want to say self-creation, but I think he can operate out of the short roll, potentially fill that kind of Draymond Green role, especially if Draymond's on his way out, if he is. But Quaintance is exceptionally talented and truly one of the better defensive prospects that we have seen in a while. It's just a matter of will he be healthy. So moving on to Number 12. This is where we can go in a few different spots. It's OKC. Of course, they can just go about anywhere, but we're going to go with Hans Steinbach with the first choice, their first of two first-round selections. Steinbach, really good rebounder. I think Hartenstein could be on his way out, so Steinbach, like I mentioned, excellent rebounder, but pretty good movement skills for his size. And I think he's honestly a lot more underrated on the defensive end. And I think he could be a lot better considering he'd be paired alongside Chet Holmgren. Steinbach has good touch, good short roll passer. I think he has some indicators that he could step out and knock down a couple threes as well. So Steinbach is another one that could probably go about anywhere in this range, but he ends up in OKC on this one. And at 13, we are going to go with Kingston Flemings. I think he kind of fits that Miami Heat culture. An absolute dog on defense, really cerebral on the defensive end, good playmaker downhill. A heavy mid-range shot diet for a smaller guard is not ideal. He is not 6'4", he is 6'2", but nonetheless, like if he gets up more threes, I do see kind of the star guard upside with Flemings because he's so good downhill, super explosive. Doesn't really turn it over a lot, and he was kind of deployed into a much more on-ball role with Coach Sampson, and I thought he responded really well. Leading to pick number 14, the Hornets. This is tough. I may have accidentally took my two best options here with Sturts and the other one, but if we're going for purely fit, I don't think Acuff is better than Wagler or Philon or Tanner or a few of these other guys, but we're going to go with Acuff here. I think it'd be a really good fit off the bench for them. A guy that doesn't turn it over, good playmaker, especially good lob passer, but also showed that he can be an off-ball shooter. Just the defensive worries are pretty bad, so especially considering like his wingspan was long, and then of course his impact was even worse, like relative to that, which is just not good. But Acuff is a tough shot maker. I think he'd be a really nice fit, especially in the Charles Lee system, getting up a bunch of threes, which is what Acuff needs to do. He needs to get up a lot more threes as well. Even though he does get up a lot, just need to see it more. But good playmaker, tough shot maker, just bad on the defensive end. But that'd be a fun fit there. Chicago with their second first-round choice here at number 15. We took Caleb Wilson with the first one, and Keaton Wagler ends up being here, so we might as well just take him. I honestly wasn't expecting him to be this far down, I guess, but Wagler is like another one that's a really fun player because I don't see the lead guard profile there, but as like a connective wing or connective guard / wing, I guess, but that's where I see the value because he's a good offensive rebounder for his position, a deep range shot maker off of screens and kind of off the dribble, and he also doesn't really turn it over a lot, and I don't think his profile is completely similar because Wagler ended up impacting the game a lot more, and I think he's a better prospect coming out. But Yegor Gioman, like the idea with him last year was that he was like a 6'7" or 6'8" point guard, and I feel like that's kind of the same stuff with Wagler, and I just don't see that with the handle and the lack of athleticism. But in terms of like being able to play as that second side creator and not turn it over and becoming a better playmaker, especially in a scaled down role, I think Wagler has that, especially in the league. And honestly, Chicago, this is a pretty darn good haul, especially with Wilson and Wagler, two guys that are, at least one guy is at least top 4 prospect in the draft, and at least Wagler is arguably top 10. So really good haul there for Chicago fans. But Memphis is back up here after taking DeBonce at 3. And at 16, we're not going to go guard because I'm a fan of like what they have going on, especially in their guard room. However, that means we can pivot to another front court player. None of these guys intrigue me too much, but Morez Johnson. Similar to Isaiah Stewart in a sense of kind of the enforcer on the defensive end. Good rebounder, play finisher, really athletic out in space. Showed that at the combine. Just doesn't really shoot the 3-ball that much or convert many, but him along Zach Edey would be a really impactful rebounding duo, especially on the margins. But I'd be intrigued to see where Johnson lands. I would definitely consider him at 16 there. At 17, another OKC selection, of course. We went with Steinbach on the first one, meaning I'll probably go guard here. Probably go guard. That is where I'm leaning. We're going to go with Phylon. A guy that can get downhill, kind of create his own jumper. Took a lot more threes this last year and converted a lot as well, which is really encouraging. But another part was him being able to scale back, at least as a freshman, and then being able to scale up this past year as a sophomore, which I think really helped his stock and will probably get him a lot more money, considering he may go late lottery. Late lottery to this top 20 range is probably where I would have Phylon, or at least 14 to like 23, 22 maybe. But nonetheless, Phylon, extremely talented point guard, just a little bit more slimmer frame. But we went with Acuff on the first one for the Hornets, and at 18 here, they are back up. So we are in consideration, or I am considering going with not anybody down here. Please don't reset. That would be bad. Considering going with Chris Sinak, but I think that's a little bit too early for him. So we're going to go with Dalen Swain. He is top 12, 13-ish range on my board. Really talented ISO scorer with really interesting kind of fluidity and movement skills, which is obviously a really good thing. But defensively, that'll be his calling, or like his defense will be his calling card early on in his career as he kind of works up to potentially being a star wing creator, because honestly he has the profile for it, similar to Franz and Tatum, kind of coming out as these wings that rebound, pass at a high level, and of course defend at a really high level, but also show the scalability to take on a heavier workload and kind of be the backbone of a pretty good offense at Texas, which was shocking because it was kind of a tougher context to play in, but he did a really good job of kind of running their show there. But at 19, we have the Raptors, and Bennett Sturts would be the pick here if I wasn't so high on him because he's awesome. But the Raptors need more pull-up three-point shooting. So I wonder where we could go here. Was thinking Tanner. I don't think they would do that. Nonetheless, they need more shooting in general. They need more shooting. And there's nobody that's really piquing my interest at the moment. I don't like Burries that much, but this is tough. Let's go with Cameron Carr, who has shown that he is a good shooter. And another guy, really athletic with a long wingspan. They seem to value that pretty highly. So we'll go with Cameron Carr there in Toronto. Moving on to the San Antonio Spurs at pick 20 here. Another team that can go in a few different directions, but I want to go with the front court guy. I just don't know. We should go with Onyenso. That'd be so fire. Him alongside Wemby, nobody would score. But if we're going fit, man, this is tough. Let's go with Sinak. So Sinak is one. You're kind of betting on him to be good in the long term, and I think San Antonio has the flexibility for that. They could be one if they really want to trade for kind of a bigger name guy. I guess this pick would probably be gone, but Sinak in the long term could be really fun. Monster wingspan, showed the willingness to take threes and kind of especially later on in the season, make a much bigger impact on the defensive on the defensive side in terms of rebounding and shot blocking. But Sinak's a really fun one. Thought he really developed throughout the rest of the season for Coach Sampson in Houston. But at 21 here, we have the Detroit Pistons, not back up, but they are up. And Cade needs some help. Christian Anderson could be really fun here as a three-point bombing point guard who can take some pressure off of Cade. So that'd be a really solid fit. Gosh, somebody got on me last time in the comments for taking Burries at 22, but I'm going to have to do it again. I'm sorry. Just don't think he's going to fall this far. Plus, the fit's probably pretty good. I know they have a kind of a surplus of guards, but one of them could be on the way out. So, or Quentin Grimes maybe, but another guy I know he's an older freshman, but he's kind of good at everything, master of none. So I don't know how to really value those guys. However, Burries is talented, good transition player, strong, sturdy frame. So I think Philly would probably take him, especially if he was there. We took Ade Mara the first time, I believe, for Atlanta. They could go guard. I just don't. Oh, yes, we can. We can go guard. I would take Tanner Hire. I think he's one of the better smaller guard prospects we've seen since Chris Paul. The stock creation is crazy. Good shooter. Super quick paint touch getter as well. So that's probably where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Tyler Tanner at 23 to Atlanta. New York Knicks. This feels like a Koa Pete spot. So another strong frame, potentially impactful player, kind of in the short role, and solid passer, decent rebounder. Just he can't shoot. So I'm not very high on him. I probably wouldn't take him in the first round, at least personally, but you know. But the Lakers are up here. I think Badunga is going to go back to school, but that'd be fun. As a kind of a switchable big. Chinyalu's going back to school. That'd be fun. Leaning towards Visar, Isaiah Evans, or Joshua Jefferson. An underrated defender who is versatile on the offensive end, can knock down a three, make a good pass. Just another kind of impactful player in multiple areas, just not really a master of anything, but jack of all trades, kinda. So I think they would go there. Denver is up here at 26. And it's going to pay me to do it because I really like Deron Holmes. But we're going to go with Zuby Ejiofor, who'd be a really fun fit alongside Jokic as kind of this physical defensive presence who can probably play finish, make a play in the short roll if need be, if they're doing kind of these 5-4 screens instead of 4-5 with Boozer and Sarr. But this would be Jokic and Ejiofor in this kind of interesting actions. I think that'd be really fun. But Ejiofor is impactful in a number of ways. Really fun player. At 27 here is the Boston Celtics. And Ejiofor would be really fun here. Another one for sure. But definitely got to pivot off. Man, this is tough. I like the wings that Boston has. We're going to go with Visar. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but can hit a few threes. Decent on the defensive end, just not very physical. But pretty solid on the offensive end. 28 here. Minnesota is up. We're going to go with Isaiah Evans. A little bit more shooting for Ant. 29. Cleveland. Interesting. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go with a more the physicality route. Terrace Reed. Physically imposing. Playmaking hub. Good on the interior. Honestly, a really underrated player. And at 32, round out the first round. Dallas is back up after taking Mr. Sturts at pick 9. We'll go with Kareem Lopez. Kind of the wild card Mexican wing prospect who's probably the best in coming out of Mexico ever. So obviously really cool for him. But Lopez is one I wrote about. And of course, I think I took him here in my last mock as well. But kind of that power wing, similar movement style to like Kyle Anderson and those kind of slower, stronger wings, but can be an impactful defender, make a play off the bounce, be a connective passer, knock down a three. That's kind of what you want to see out of him. It's just we wonder, will that happen? But I'm going to scroll back through the first round. Once again, this was kind of like a mixture of what I would do, but also fits. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed making this, but let me know or comment down below, I guess, your favorite fit or favorite pick for your team. Of course, Chicago, if I had to pick, would probably be my favorite because you get 2 first-rounders. But, of course, leave a comment, your favorite choices. Also, any suggestions on other videos that I should do. But, of course, thank you guys for tuning in. Happy holidays once again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.